Most dropshippers never even see the product that they're selling, and today we're going to change that. I made 50k in the past 103 days with a brand new dropshipping store, and today will be the first time that I actually see the product that I've been selling. It just got delivered and we're going to unbox it together in just a moment. My name's Theo Clarke, and over the past few months I've been building this branded dropshipping store from scratch and documenting the journey on YouTube. In this video you'll see why I got my product shipped to me, how you can stand out from your competitors with branding, the 2 new products I'm adding to my store and how I found them so that you can just copy me, and lastly how I'm going to be taking this business to over 100k per month. But let's start by actually unboxing this product. So hopefully you can see the product has arrived here. Now, I don't think too much of this grey cellophane packaging here. After all, brand perception is everything, but what's important is what's on the inside. You guys know that. So let's take a look, unbox this. I've got a pair of scissors here and let's see how it looks. I've had some branded packaging made. I've also got some branded leaflets inside. The product itself is not actually branded yet because I haven't got enough cash flow to meet the minimum order quantity. I'll talk more on that in this video. But for now, let's get this cellophane off and see what's inside. Okay, box is a little bit damaged. Well, I say damaged. There's no holes in it or anything like that, but there's some small minor dents, which is obviously just down to the courier. I mean, I'm using heavyweight packaging already, heavyweight cardboard. So I'm not sure if there's much more I can do to make that mirror go bust. All in all, starting to look pretty good. So the cellophane is off. We have the branded packaging here. Obviously I'm going to need to blur out the brand name, but here you can see the box. All in all, pretty good. You can see we've got the seal on there so that I can track whether or not anyone's actually opened the product. The reason I'm pointing that out is I do allow returns. I have return centers globally and allow people to return the product so long as it is unused and in a saleable condition. So these stickers are just a nice way for me to see when people actually send in proof that they've opened it or not opened it as to whether or not they're eligible for a return. That being said, I do still allow people to return the product even if the seal isn't on there, but it's a backup, right? I always have the ability to deny the return should I need to do so on the basis of that. But anyway, let's take these sticker seals off. They're actually on there pretty good, so there's no way that these are coming back on after that. There's one. Let's get the other one off as well. Got the scissors here, might need to use them for this one. This one looks, all right. There we go, security seals are off. Let's open up the box, see what we've got inside. All right, very nicely packaged. Should have a zip on here somewhere. I may need to cut the next bit. Let's see. I'm going to open up the box. I'm going to have a little look inside, so long as I can look without giving you guys too much as to what's inside. If I can't reveal too much, not to worry, we'll save it for another day. But so far so good. I'm pretty happy with how everything's looking. I'm going to try and take a peek inside without showing you guys too much. So let's see. Okay, seems to be packaged pretty well. There's no damage at all. Looks good. Let's undo the zipper. Got a Ziploc bag here as well. Inside, we've got another plastic seal. Now, what I'm looking for is the instruction manual that I've had made, which I can't see as of yet. Let's see. Oh, there it is. It's in the box. So here we have the instruction manual that I've got made. Obviously the product is on the front side, so I'm not sharing that, but all looks pretty good to me. So we created custom instruction manual, which we have here, custom packaging, and then inside we have the product. So I'm going to have a look at the product properly later. It's a bit difficult for me to do it on camera without giving too much away, but first impressions, happy with the box that arrived. It's undamaged, a few like dents in places, but hey, you know, that's really down to the couriers. Box is nice and thick, so I'm pretty happy with the thickness of the cardboard. Also have to be careful not to make it too thick, because then that's more added weight and potentially higher shipping costs, or even using different shipping lines depending on the weight and the size of the product. The product has arrived. Quality looks good. Haven't got it out of the package yet. It's in a plastic bag here. Happy with the leaflet as well. It's come with the product, which I designed. Just made it on Canva. It's nothing special, but all looks good. And yeah, first impressions, pretty happy with it. I think it demands a premium price point. The only thing I didn't like was this cellophane bag that it came in. I think this, I noticed it was quite common for deliveries, but where the bag's quite thin, it's teared easily. I don't know, maybe we can try and use like a thicker bag or something like that so it doesn't tear as easy, but I guess that's something that I can speak to my agent about. But for now, let's get into the video. I want to start by explaining to you why I actually had this product delivered to me. So let's get into it. All right. So as I mentioned, here is everything that we're going to be going through in today's video. First and foremost, why did I have my product shipped to me? It's very simple. I can actually boil it down to a few things, but first and foremost is to actually become the customer. I wanted to be on the receiving end of my own service and the product that I'm shipping to these customers. After all, what I'm doing here is building a brand, and I want to understand how my brand is being perceived on the other end when it actually arrives at the customer's door. I wanted to know how I would feel when I'm opening that product for the first time. Obviously, it's a little bit different because I'm excited. You know, it's the product that I've been selling for the past 3 months. This product has made me over $50,000 with an incredibly good profit margin. So of course I'm going to be a little biased, but that also works to my advantage because I'm going to be a bigger critic of it. And by actually seeing the product in person and unboxing it's given me a few ideas. And these are then things that I can take to my private agent and supplier and expand on and see if we can improve on. So that's number one. Number two is quality control. As I mentioned to you guys, this brand and this exact product has done over $50,000 in sales in just over 3 months. Let me pull up the Shopify dashboard real quick. As you can see, the date we're looking at here is May 2nd to August 13th. And in that period, we've generated over $50,000 in sales. That was actually $49,000 before I started recording. Since recording, we've just generated another sale. So total number of orders there is 138. Let me just hit refresh so you can see the numbers are legit. There we go. Now the whole quality control thing actually falls into the same category somewhat as becoming the customer, right? Because when I'm acting as the customer, I can then review the quality. Now that being said, of those 137 or now 138 orders that we've had, we've only ever had 4 returns to date, which is a 2.9% return rate. So overall, I would say quality is pretty good. Taking into consideration that our average order value is around about $400, to have only had 4 returns from 137 orders and a 2.9% return rate, I'd say we're doing pretty well. Now, you may be shocked to hear, yes, I am a dropshipper and yes, I do accept returns. Most dropshippers don't bother, and when a customer comes to wanting to return a product, they'll try and just give them a partial discount, and if the customer complains, they'll give them an even bigger discount, and if the customer's still not happy, they'll just refund them entirely and allow them to keep the product. As you can see, this isn't sustainable, and I would never recommend this long term, especially not if you're selling high-ticket products. Instead, what I've done is set up global return centers, so I actually have locations in each country where customers can then return their product to should they wish to do so. So of those 4 returns that we've had, we actually got the product back, and therefore we've not lost out on the cost of the goods. Of course, the only thing we cannot claim back is the advertising spend. But still, I'd rather just be down with regards to advertising spend as opposed to giving them the free product as well. That's an even bigger loss, right? The good thing as well is that all of these products are then returned to the return center and they're quality checked and graded. So I know that of those 4 returns, that I can actually sell all 4 of them on to another customer. Not only that, but of those 137 orders that we've actually had 7 5-star Trustpilot reviews, which is a lot more than what can be said for my competitors. When I'm looking at my other competitors in this, dropshipping space who are running their businesses, most of their Trustpilot pages are flooded with a negative 1-star reviews. Keep in mind that these are the people that I'm directly competing against, all right? It's not very difficult to outcompete someone who doesn't care about their customers. After all, that's the most important part of the business, right? The actual customers. If you don't have any customers, you don't have any business. So best to actually look after them, which comes back to everything that I'm saying about quality control. And it's exactly how I started this video by saying most dropshippers never even see their product, right? Not only have I seen the product, I've run it through quality control. I've now got some feedback from my agent and supplier to begin improving on it. I also have return centers set up, which means customer complaints are low, which means we have a high Trustpilot review page, which then equals more customers. How about that? Looking after your customers, selling a high quality product actually equals more customers. Who'd have thought? That's the problem with most of these dropshippers. They simply don't care about their customers, and that is their downfall. And the truth is, how they treat their customers is most likely how they treat everyone. Remember that when you decide who to learn from and listen to within this industry. Because what we're doing here is e-commerce. Yes, dropshipping is the fulfillment method, which leads me on to my next point, and that is that dropshipping is not a scam. Think about it for a moment, okay? All that dropshipping is simply a fulfillment method, okay? What we're actually doing here is e-commerce. The problem is there are a lot of people in the e-commerce space that are dropshipping that have bad business etiquette, but that doesn't mean that the model itself as a business is flawed. In fact, it's one of the greatest business models ever. I get to sell products that are shipped directly from China to my customers without ever having to come into contact with the product. Sure, okay, I have had it delivered to me now after 3 months, but I'm explaining to you why I've done that. But initially, to get started, it's low risk, high ROI, because I didn't have to invest in any upfront stock. The only thing I needed to invest in was doing the research, building the website, and of course, the Google advertising spend. I've been in e-commerce for over 5 years now, and trust me when I say it works, okay? Online sales are increasing year on year as more and more people are shopping online, which is why it always makes me laugh when people say dropshipping saturated, it doesn't work. The truth is, anyone that says this is in denial, okay? They've either tried it and failed, or they never even tried it to begin with. And they say it's saturated to make them feel better about themselves. And I'll prove it to you. Let's take a look at these numbers, okay? Here's just some random countries that I've picked out and their population, okay? The UK, 65 million people. Germany, 65 million people. The United States, 325 million people. Now, if we take my store, for example, okay, where I'm selling products that have a $400 average order price, I only need to get 3 sales a day to do 1.2K per day in sales. Assuming I can maintain that over the period of 30 days, that would be $36,000 in sales per month. Now let's assume that my business is operating at a modest net 30% net margin. I say modest because it's actually running higher than that. Then that would be $10,800 in net profit per month. All of that from just 3 sales per day. And as I mentioned a moment ago, there's 65 million people in the UK, 65 million in Germany, 325 million in the USA. You think of that combined, almost 500 million people, you're not able to sell 3 products a day. When we break it down like that, hopefully you start to see how not only is it not saturated, but actually it's almost impossible for you not to be able to do that if you have the right systems and the right blueprint in place. Because all we're doing here is selling products online to people that are already looking for them. And that is the beauty of Google Ads dropshipping. We're just selling products to customers who are already looking for them on Google anyway. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because I want to address these common misconceptions about dropshipping. No, dropshipping isn't saturated. And yes, you can actually sell high ticket, high quality products that people actually want. And this is reflected in the quality control of your business and your Trustpilot page. It all comes down to you as a person, and that is the beauty of e-commerce. You can build this business the way that you want to. I've built my business the way I want to, with customer care at its forefront, because I understand that happy customers equals more customers. And that is another reason why I've had the products delivered to me, okay? Is so that I can start generating content. Now you may be thinking, yeah, but why do you need the product in person to generate content? Yeah, it's a good question, because I know a lot of people these days are using AI, and in fact a lot of my competitors are. I would say 75% of them are using AI in some format, either with image or video. And the worst part is you can tell, okay? I look on their website, their images are all distorted. The product doesn't look the same as it actually does in person. And sure, maybe you're fooling customers with this, but again, it's not a long-term play. I'm not saying from day one, you need to have the product with you in person to start generating content. I'm only getting it here after 3 months. But the reason you're going to want your own content as opposed to relying on AI is so that you can stand out from your competition. As we've just discussed a moment ago, most people in dropshipping have poor business etiquette, which gets reflected in the way that they run their business. Most of them are lazy, so they can't be bothered to build a brand and they can't be bothered to invest in content. Instead, they just want to list tons of products that they can get off the shelf in China and use AI as much as possible to get product images and videos. Or worse than that, they're stealing someone else's content from Meta or TikTok ad library. Not only is this inauthentic, but you're just one competitor complaint away from a DMCA or lawsuit filing. Again, not a very sustainable way to run your business. And the thing is, when it comes to getting content, it doesn't even necessarily need to be professional, okay? I'm not talking about dropping thousands of dollars on a professional photo shoot. It just needs to resonate with your ICP, your ideal customer profile. These are the people that you're selling to. The truth is, most of your customers don't need to see a HD image or video to resonate with your brand or to see it as compelling enough to purchase. You just need to use the content, whether it be images or videos, to accurately display your product and appeal to the people that you're trying to sell to. So for me, I've had my product here to be delivered, not only for quality control, but also to be able to start getting some content just with friends or family for now, which should be enough as a starting point. Then, if I want to do so, I can then use AI to optimize the images and the videos and improve them further. This is going to be much easier for me to do when I have an entire library of photos, which is also going to allow me to stand out from my competition, which brings us on to the next talking point of this video, which is why bother branding. Now, like I mentioned earlier, most of your competitors are lazy, which is their downfall and your opportunity. So let's talk about some of the opportunities of actually building a brand. Now, first and foremost, you become an authority within your niche. Now, What does that actually mean? Well, you become an authority in the niche in which you're selling. A niche is a category or subcategory of products, which is always my approach when I build a store. I always get all of my students to find a winning niche with 3 to 5 winning products within it. The reason we build a niche specific store is to become an authority within that niche. You may have heard the saying, the riches are in the niches. Well, that is absolutely true, because by becoming an authority within a niche, we're able to add perceived value. Okay, we get to tell our customers what our product is worth, which means we get to charge our customers a premium price point. Okay, our product is worth what we decide it's worth. Think about some of these bigger brands. Okay, Louis Vuitton, Dyson, DeLonghi for coffee machines. They sell all of their products for a premium price point. Okay, the Dyson Airwrap. Do you think that's worth, I think it's about £350, maybe $450. How much do you think that actually costs for them to produce? Next to nothing, most likely. It's just plastic and electrical cables. So the margin on that is going to be huge. But why are they able to sell that product for such a premium price point? Yes, it's a good product, but the product itself doesn't cost that much. But they're able to sell it for a premium price point because of the brand that they've built. This is why branding is such a huge opportunity that's often overlooked by most dropshippers. And I'm going to tell you more about how you can start branding your products in just a moment. But let's continue through the other reasons as to why you should build a brand. Now, not only do you become an authority, but you build a saleable asset. What does that actually mean? Well, not only are you building recognition when you're building a brand and becoming an authority within a niche, but you're actually building intellectual property. You're building something that is actually yours. It's an asset that you've built and you own. So what do you think is more appealing to a prospective buyer? Let's run through 2 scenarios, okay? Scenario A, you own a dropshipping store where you sell products that are accessible online to anyone. Or B, you have a niche specific branded dropshipping store with customized products. If you were looking to buy a business, which of those 2 options would you go for? It would be B, hands down, let's be real. And when I'm talking about saleable assets, I'm talking from experience, okay? I've been in e-commerce, I've been in dropshipping for the past 5 years. I got started in Ecom in June of 2020. And I went on to exit the first ever dropshipping brand that I built back in December of 2022. So I'm actually speaking from experience here, which is quite uncommon. You ask most people in e-commerce, most people in dropshipping, if they've ever actually sold an e-commerce business. Most of the time the answer is going to be no. Why? Because they're not able to build a business that is appealing to a prospective buyer, which is exactly what we're talking about right here. Now that's 2 of the reasons, but there's actually 2 more, okay? I know I've been calling out competition a lot in this video, saying most of them are lazy. All right, not all competitors are lazy, okay? That's true, but most of them are. Most of them will do the least that they can to get the greatest upside. And if that's your approach, that's fine, okay? But what I'm trying to say is that there's opportunity where others lack, okay? Even if your competitors are not lazy, okay, even if you have some that are actually grinding it out, the problem with their approach is they often build general dropshipping stores, okay, which has hundreds or even thousands of SKUs, which is hundreds or thousands of different products. Now, the problem with having hundreds or even thousands of different products is it's then going to become very difficult or even near on impossible to actually ever brand the products, because each time you want to brand a product, it requires minimum order quantity, which means you're going to need to invest in the stock up front to be able to customize it. Now, after 3 months of running my dropshipping store, I'm almost in the position where I can put in a minimum order quantity to actually get the product customized. I already did the packaging, I already did the leaflets, but I haven't yet actually customized the product, which is also why I've had it delivered here today. So I can look at the quality control and also make note of potential customizations that I'd like to make moving forward when we then begin to brand the product. The reason it's taken me 3 months to get to this point is, 1, I needed to determine order volume before I make a purchase of 100 or 200 pieces. I need to be able to forecast in the different markets that I'm in as to how many sales I expect moving forward at scale. And I also needed to build up enough positive cash flow. Okay, I started this business with nothing. I created a brand new business bank account and I sent across $1,000 just to cover my initial ad spend. And even after I'd spent about $500, the ad spend became self-fulfilling. And from that, I've then reinvested the profits back into the business. So now hopefully you understand the problem, right? If you have hundreds or even thousands of products, you do not have enough cash flow, more likely than not, to invest in a minimum order quantity of products. Even if you did, what, are you going to have 1 or 2 branded products on your store out of hundreds or thousands of products? That's just going to look strange, right? And the problem is, if you cannot brand your products, you cannot differentiate yourself from anyone else in the market who can also source the same product as you from a supplier in China, okay? There's no loyalty in suppliers. If someone else comes along and they says, I want this exact product, and they have it on the shelf, they're going to sell it to them, because at the end of the day, they care about their bottom line profits. Which leads me on to my next and final point, is by branding your products, you build a layer of protection. Why do you think no dropshippers, including myself, reveal their stores publicly, okay? Like when I was opening my product there, I was kind of being a little bit cautious not to show too much because I don't want to open the doors to a ton of competition which isn't already there. Why would I want to invite a load of competition into my niche and the product that I'm selling? That's just unnecessary. And if anything, it's going to be counterintuitive. That's why most people build their brand for years before they actually announce it to the public, because by then the time difference between them and a new competitor is far too great that that competitor will never be able to catch up because of the years that this guy's already put in to building the brand, which means anyone new that tries to come in and copy the brand is going to have a time lag of playing catch up. So by spending the time behind the scenes building the brand, you then build protection. So how do you actually brand a product? Well, I'm going to tell you. For me, it all starts with one key person, and that is a private agent. You should think of them as an extension of your business, okay? They handle your supply chain and your fulfillment. They're your eyes and ears on the ground in China, and they manage communications between you and, of course, your supplier. You can send your products to them. So although I only received mine in person here today, I sent my products to my private agent months ago, okay? It arrived in their warehouse at their location. They took pictures for me, videos, they checked on the packaging, they made sure the quality was good. So when I brought my product to market, I didn't go in completely blind, okay? I just didn't think necessary at that stage to send it all the way to me because I didn't even yet have proof of concept with regards to sales volume. So hopefully you can already see how important this person is. Not only that, but they have all of the connections that you need in China to then be able to begin branding your products, from the packaging to the leaflets to the product itself. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, good agents are very hard to come by. And as a standard minimum requirement, most private agents require you to already be doing at least 10 orders a day per minimum to be able to even talk to them. The reason for this is because they work on a commission basis based on the number of sales that you're generating. They factor in their commission to the product cost and the shipping cost that they offer you, which means when you're generating more sales, they're generating more money. So as you can imagine, someone that's already generating 10 orders a day, that's someone that a private agent would be interested in speaking to. Otherwise, the agent has to do all the work up front and they don't even know if you're going to generate good sales volume. So you may be thinking, how am I able to get a private agent when I'm not doing 10 orders a day yet? Good question, and I will explain. As I mentioned, I've been in e-commerce for over 5 years. In that time, I've built a reputation and built authority within China amongst private agents. They've seen my stores in the past. They know many of my students who I've put onto them as well have gone on to be incredibly successful. Therefore, when I open a new business or launch a new product, I have no minimum order quantities that I have to adhere to. The benefit of that as well is that all of my students get the same benefit. Anyone who works with me inside of the Google Ads Ecom Academy gets access to 5 vetted private agents that I've personally worked with in the past. So by being a member of my academy, you can use these private agents with no minimum order quantity required, which means as a complete beginner, you can send them products. They will go out, source them for you, negotiate price point with the supplier, get you the best shipping lines, the best shipping cost, and it's going to be a huge benefit to you and your business. As I mentioned, this is very uncommon for you to find a private agent that will work with you without enforcing a minimum order quantity where you already need to be doing at least 10 orders a day. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. By all means, go out there, try and find one. Maybe you will, but most of them won't give you the time of day unless you've come via recommendation or someone with authority like me in the industry who can put you on to private agents that are vetted, that trust that my students are going to go on to do good volume. And that is how you brand a product. You either need an agent or a supplier. If you go direct to the source and speak to suppliers directly, they can be a bit deceptive and deceitful, okay? Because you've got no middleman to validate what they're saying is true, which means if you want to check products, if you want to try and arrange for packaging, you have to do it all on your own, which as a busy business owner, this is additional hard work that you probably don't want to take on. So personally, I always use a private agent, but first I need to find the winning products to get them to source. As I mentioned at the start of this video, I found 2 new winning products that I'm also going to be adding onto this store, and I'll show you exactly how I found them. For context, for those of you that are new here, the product that I unboxed today is the core product on my website, and it's the one that's generated me almost 50k in the past 3 months, or actually over 50k in the last 3 months now. But what I didn't tell you is I've actually got 2 more products on their way to be delivered to me here in Dubai. Product number 1 is a cross-sell for my core product. So what do I mean by a cross-sell? Well, it's a product that can be sold in addition to the core product on my website. The reason that I haven't yet added this product to my website and the reason I'm getting it sent here first is because I'm going to brand this one and customize it from the start, which means I need to make sure I'm happy with the sample before I then invest in the minimum order quantity, which is 100 pieces. Plus, provided that I am happy with the sample, I can then use that with my core product to start getting some content made, which means when I do proceed to get the product produced, I've already got all of my content available to immediately add that product as a cross-sell to my core product and begin increasing my average order value. Now, the second product that I'm adding to my store right now was validated using my 4-step product validation method. Now, if you've been watching my content for a little while, you'll know I talk about this often in my videos. And essentially the 4-step product validation method comes down to 4 key metrics. What I'm looking for to validate a winning product is high search demand, low level of competition, a product that is evergreen and can be sold year round, and a product that has a high average order value. A bit like the one I'm selling on my store at the moment with a $400 price point. For those of you that want to learn more about my 4-step product validation method so that you can copy me, I recently released a 30-minute long training video and gave it away for free inside of my free Google Ads dropshipping community. This is different to my paid mentorship program, which is the Google Ads Ecom Academy. So what I'm going to do is drop a link to my Google Ads community, the free one, in the video description. You can join for free, and inside of the community you will find a 30-minute long training video that explains in detail my 4-step product validation method so that you can start validating products and finding winners the exact same way I do. And that is the exact process I followed to find the first product that I launched on this store, and also the second one that I'm going to be adding real soon. Now, this second product is great, okay? It's an even higher price point than my original, and it's also unique and untapped, but I know that this opportunity won't be available forever. So I'm going to take advantage of it now so that I can get ahead of my competition, so that when they find this product, when they want to add it, I already have that time lag that I spoke about earlier, right? I've already had time to start building the brand, building my presence for that particular product, and creating brand authority. And that is what it's all about. And adding these 2 new products, one of them as a cross-sell and another as a standalone secondary product, is part of my plan to take this business to over 100K per month. How I'm going to do this is actually very simple. It falls into 2 different categories: vertical scale and horizontal scale. Vertical scale is where you increase things vertically. Okay, so these are things like increasing your average order value and increasing your advertising spend. It's scaling components that already form part of your business. Next up, we have horizontal scale, which is of course where you scale things horizontally. So what is horizontal scale? Well, if you think of a graph, you always go along the x-axis and then up the y-axis, right? So to be able to scale vertically up the y-axis, you already need to have your foundation built on the horizontal scale, which is the x-axis. So an example of horizontal scale is introducing new products and new markets. When I say new markets, I just mean new countries that you're advertising and selling in. You can't scale a new product or a new market until you've actually added it in, right? So you need to first add in the horizontal, then you scale the vertical. Hopefully that makes sense. And here is my exact plan to scale this store to over $100,000 per month. So I've already shared with you some of the things I'm going to be doing, but in principle, what I will do is I want to get 3 products live by the end of August 2025, which would be horizontal scale, okay? Once I've then added on those products, I can also scale them vertically by introducing them to multiple markets. Once I've added the products on and introduced them to the market, I can then begin increasing advertising spend and also introduce branded cross-sell products like the one I spoke about earlier. But before I introduce the branded cross-sell product, I need to get the sample here, I need to place the order, it's going to take time to produce it. So these things are going to take time, which is why I want to start scaling vertically in September. It gives me time to add some new products, introduce them to markets, and then begin scaling up the ad spend. Hopefully this video has shown you that there is an exact blueprint and exact process that you can follow to build a successful branded niche specific high ticket dropshipping store. It's the exact same process that I follow, the same process that I've been following for the past 5 years, and it's the exact same process and the same blueprint that I give to all of my students inside of the Google Ads Ecom Academy. Everything we've spoken about here today, from using my 4-step product validation method, sourcing products, getting in contact with your private agent, negotiating price points, getting samples sent to you, how to actually brand your products from your packaging to your leaflets to the product itself, to then scaling your store horizontally and vertically with Google Ads, are all things that I cover in extreme detail inside of the Google Ads Ecom Academy. I teach complete beginners how to go from $0 to $10,000 in sales in 90 days or less by building branded, niche-specific, high-ticket dropshipping stores. No, dropshipping isn't saturated. Yes, it does work. You just need to understand the exact process that you need to follow. And that's exactly what I show you inside of the Academy. It's a complete A to Z of how to follow a proven blueprint and start generating sales online profitably with your branded dropshipping store. Let me show you some student success stories real quick so you can get a feel for what students inside of the academy are actually achieving and how quick they're achieving them as well. Let's hop over to Trustpilot, where you can see to date we've had 22 reviews, all of which have been 5-star. There's not one person or one member of the academy who's ever had anything less than a 5-star experience. So just like my e-commerce store where I'm looking after my customers, I'm also looking after all of my students inside of the academy. So let's take a look at some of our student testimonials and I can tell you a bit about each of these students. So first and foremost, we have Fabian, who just 4 months ago was an online PT and video editor with no e-commerce experience. And yet in June 2025, after just 4 months inside of the Google Ads Ecom Academy, he had generated 70,000 euros for the month of June alone with his branded niche-specific high-ticket dropshipping stores. All of these sales were generated using Google Ads. Next up, we have Oliver, who already had a successful business prior to joining the academy. However, he was only using Meta ads. He was generating about 170k GBP per month, which is about $200,000 solely from Meta ads. We added Google as a secondary channel, but it very quickly became the primary, scaling his business from 170k all the way up to £350,000 per month within just 3 months of working together. That's around about $400,000 per month. Once again, with a branded niche-specific dropshipping store. Then we have Kyle, who prior to joining the academy had 2 failed dropshipping stores. His words, not mine. He is from the US, and in the US he had 1 fashion dropshipping store and 1 selling home decor. Both of them were unprofitable. He wasn't making any money compared to how much he was spending on ads, which meant he was actually a negative return on investment. Within 1 month of joining the academy, he saw his first $1,000 day from Google Ads dropshipping. And then we have Sasha, who went from 0 to 513,429 euros in just 4 months with a branded niche-specific high-ticket dropshipping store. That's 0 to over €500,000 in just 4 months. And I can tell you more about each and every one of these students because I've worked with each of them personally. So not only are my own businesses successful, but as are my students. So if you do want to get involved in the Google Ads Ecom Academy, if you want to be surrounded by like-minded people just like the students I've shown you, who also joined the program and went from 0 to over $10,000 in sales per month in 90 days or less, then see the link in the video description for more information. That is all for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe and drop a comment. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.